So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of talk to you just a little bit about the book. What we're talking about mostly is book two, book two, Hornslayer, which just came out June 1st. I'm so excited. So something that's kind of new and different in this book and all the books that will come after is they start off with what I call a legend. And what it is it's a little backstory about things that happened in Rundalin, and then it catches us up to what happened in the story that was book one, so that it kind of is like a previously on Pacey Packer Unicorn Tracker, but it also, I wanted to give everybody a little bit of something new. Like a little history of the characters in Rundalin. So it does two different things. And
I have to jump in and say it was brilliant that you did that.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I want to talk a little bit about the art style because it's a little different than the rest of the book. So I'm going to show you, I'm just going to sort of zoom in. We'll zoom in. This is me zooming in, bringing the book to the camera. Old-fashioned zoom in, how I illustrated it. I wanted a slightly different style. It's still black line with the purple colors as it is in the rest of the book, but the way I'm drawing everybody is just a little bit different. It's if you're familiar with book one, there is a mural in the middle of the book when Pacey makes it to the castle. I hope that you're familiar. If not, Pacey makes it to a castle. Spoiler alert. And I did this in a style that I call the Book of Kells style. If you're familiar with, well, I don't know how many people are familiar with the Book of Kells, but the Book of Kells is this really famous book that was written in like the 7th through the 9th century. So it's super old. And it's kind of like tells religious stories, and missionaries and monks did the artwork, and it's known for its artwork. It's lavish, highly detailed artwork that they did by hand. Each page is done by hand, and it's so ornate and beautiful. And it's in Ireland at Trinity College, and I've been to see it twice in my life. They always have just a few pages open in the different volumes, but it's that kind of style that I wanted to sort of imitate's not the right word, but I was inspired by that style for these older scenes, both because they're beautiful and because Scotland's national animal is a unicorn. So I sort of looked to Scotland and Ireland and that area of the world for a lot of inspiration for the art of this world. And when I need a name or something, I look into Gaelic names and stuff for that. So I just wanted to sort of show you just kind of a little bit about, I'm going to show you, this is the scene where, so the first part of these pages, I'm not going to read them, but I'll just talk about them a little bit. Talk a little bit about how Arcane, who is the alpha unicorn in book one, so he's kind of like the leader, I call him the alpha, and how he was younger, he had a sister that fell into the eternal abyss. That's her falling into the eternal abyss right there. And then it says darkness took hold of Arcane, and you can see creeping on his horn is the dark spiral that he has in the series. And it talks a little bit about how then Slasher, who's our friend from the cover there and who I'm wearing my Disco Slasher shirt, how he is born and doesn't really get along with his brother. And so you're getting some backstory in these front pages, and they explain a little bit about the relationship between Slasher and Arcane. And it also explains a little bit about why Arcane is kind of like the way he is. But then in the last couple pages, it talks about when Pacey comes and what happens to her sister when she gets turned into a statue, and how she sort of had again, I hope you've read the first one. If not, you're getting a little bit of the spoiler, how Pacey has a confrontation with Arcane. And then in the last scene, it sets up that she becomes the Hornslayer. And it's here that I really took some inspiration on how to draw the face. I don't think I can hold them both up. So this is a detail of a human face from the Book of Kells. And this is what I ended up doing with Pacey. So they're kind of similar, the way I did the noses, the way I did the lips. I really look to the Book of Kells for a lot of inspiration. And if you can kind of see in the background, there's lots of layers of designs and Celtic knots and things like that that I use to just sort of bring that world forward in the illustrations, even though they're in the background and they're really muted. I wanted that kind of depth and that flavor in there. So yeah, so that's Book of Kells, and that's just a little peek. I didn't want to go too far into the book because I want you to read it and be surprised by it. So that just sort of gives you a little flavor of what you're going to get in book 2.